You just spent good money on a brand new 4K TV. The picture is absolutely stunning. Deep blacks, vivid colors, crisp detail on every frame. You sit down for movie night, hit play, and then the sound hits you. Flat, thin, completely embarrassing for a setup that cost you hundreds of dollars. So you go online, you start searching for soundbars, and you immediately see a sleek option from a brand you recognize and trust. The design looks high-end. The box says Dolby Atmos. The product images show it sitting perfectly under a big screen in a beautifully lit living room. The reviews on the retailer's website are mostly 4 and 5 stars. The marketing is convincing. So you pull the trigger. 2 weeks later, after the return window has quietly closed, you realize you've been completely had. The sound is barely a step above your TV's built-in speakers, and you just spent $200 finding that out the hard way. That situation, that exact painful experience, is one of the most common mistakes audio buyers make in 2026. And today, we are making absolutely sure it does not happen to you. If you're new to this channel, welcome. Hit that subscribe button right now because this is where we talk about real audio gear with completely honest opinions. No brand sponsorships, no affiliate pressure, no sugarcoating. Before we dive in, drop a comment below and tell me, what soundbar are you currently using, and what is the biggest problem you're facing with it? Is it muddy bass, weak dialogue, connectivity issues? I genuinely read every comment and reply to as many as I can. All right? Let's get into it. Soundbar 1. Samsung HW-B 5 VVO. Let's start with Samsung because this is where the most people get burned, simply due to how dominant Samsung is in the TV market. If you own a Samsung TV, and statistically, there's a very good chance you do, the temptation to pair it with a Samsung soundbar is almost irresistible. The ecosystem promise is real. The auto detection, the unified remote control, the matching design language, it all makes sense on paper. The HW-B5500 is priced around $180 to $220, depending on where you shop and what sale is running, and on the surface, it looks like a genuinely compelling deal. The spec sheet reads impressively. It's a 2.1 channel system, meaning a main soundbar plus a separate wireless subwoofer. Samsung advertises 410 watts of total power output. The design is clean and modern, finished in matte black with subtle Samsung branding. It connects via HDMI, IARC, optical, and Bluetooth. For a lot of buyers, this checks every box. Here is where reality diverges from marketing. That 410 watt figure is a peak power rating, not RS. And this distinction matters enormously. Peak power is the absolute maximum the amplifier can theoretically produce for a fraction of a second before distorting or clipping. RMS, or continuous power, is the number that actually tells you how loud and clean this soundbar will play in your living room on a sustained basis. Samsung, like many manufacturers, chooses not to publish their RMS figures prominently because those numbers are far less impressive. The real-world output of this system is considerably lower than 410 watts would suggest. The wireless subwoofer, while physically separate and impressive-looking, introduces a latency issue that shows up in certain types of content, particularly fast-paced, dialogue-driven scenes and quick-cut action sequences. The bass it produces tends toward the boomy and indistinct, rather than the tight, punchy, controlled low end that a well-tuned subwoofer delivers. If you're watching an action blockbuster, you'll feel something. But it's not the precise cinematic bass impact that genuinely premium systems produce. Dialogue clarity is where this soundbar most visibly underperforms. Voices in movies, especially during complex multi-character scenes or action-heavy audio mixes, can sound slightly muddy and pushed back in the mix. This is the single most critical function of any soundbar, making it easier to understand what people are saying on screen. And the HW-B550 handles it with mediocrity. The center channel processing simply isn't refined enough for the price Samsung is charging. To be clear, this is not a broken product. It's a functional soundbar that will make your TV sound noticeably better than built-in speakers. But you are paying a Samsung premium, a brand tax, that doesn't translate into Samsung quality audio. If ecosystem convenience is genuinely your top priority and you're pairing this with a Samsung TV, it's a defensible purchase. But if you want the best possible sound for your money in this price bracket, you're leaving real performance on the table. Soundbar 2. Bose Solo Soundbar Series 2. This one is genuinely painful to talk about because Bose is a name that has meant something in audio for decades. Walk into any airport, any office, any hotel lobby, and you'll find Bose speakers. The brand has a premium aura that is deeply embedded in the cultural consciousness around audio quality. So when someone sees the Bose Solo Series 2 at around $250 to $280, they assume they're buying into that legacy. They're not, at least not at this price point. The Bose Solo Series 2 is a single-unit soundbar with no separate subwoofer. It's compact, which works for small rooms and bedroom setups. The build quality is genuinely good. Solid, well-finished, with the kind of material quality you expect from a premium brand. The setup process is simple and straightforward, which matters to a lot of buyers who just want something that works without a long configuration process. These are real, legitimate benefits. But the audio performance is where the Solo Series 2 falls apart relative to what it costs. Being a single-channel system with no dedicated woofer, it relies entirely on Bose's internal signal processing to simulate bass response, something Bose calls their proprietary bass module technology. The results are modest at best. For news broadcasts, talk shows, YouTube videos, and casual TV watching, the Solo Series 2 does a perfectly adequate job. Dialogue is clear, voices are intelligible, and the sound is better than any TV speaker you've ever heard. Soundbar 3. Vizio V Series of 2 1X-J8. Vizio has built an interesting brand identity over the years. The company that gives budget-conscious buyers access to features that used to cost twice the price. And in the TV category, they've genuinely earned that reputation. The jump to soundbars has been more inconsistent, and the V2 1X-J8 is a product that illustrates that inconsistency well. Priced at around $130 to $160, the V2 1X-J8 is a 2.1 system with a wireless subwoofer, and it's consistently one of the best-selling soundbars in the entire budget category across major U.S. retailers. The sales numbers are real, but sales numbers don't equal audio quality. They equal effective marketing and competitive pricing. Let's give credit where it's genuinely due. The wireless subwoofer in this system is a real standout for the price. It produces bass that has actual presence and weight. For action movies, hip-hop, electronic music, and content, where low-frequency impact matters, this sub delivers more than you'd expect from a $130 product. The Bluetooth pairing is reliable, the connection rarely drops, and the physical design of the soundbar itself is slim and unobtrusive. These are genuine positives. Soundbar 4. LGS 6.0. The LGS 6.0 is arguably the most cleverly marketed soundbar on this entire list, and that's actually what makes it the most dangerous purchase for uninformed buyers. Everything about the way LG has packaged and promoted this product suggests exceptional value. It's a 3.1 channel system. That center channel is a premium feature, not a standard one at this price. There's a wireless subwoofer. Total system power is rated at 300 watts. It supports Dolby Digital. It has LG's AI Sound Pro processing. It's priced around $200. Read that list and tell me it doesn't sound impressive, because it genuinely does. The AI Sound Pro feature is where the gap between promise and reality is widest. The concept is straightforward and appealing. The soundbar analyzes the content you're watching in real time and adjusts the EQ settings automatically to optimize the sound for that specific type of audio. Movies get one treatment, sports get another, music gets another, news gets another. In theory, this should mean the soundbar always sounds appropriate for whatever you're doing. In practice, it creates a listening experience that many people find subtly but persistently wrong. The constant micro-adjustments the AI makes to the EQ are audible if you're paying attention. Transitions between different types of content, or even within a single piece of content when the audio mix shifts, can produce noticeable tonal jumps that pull you out of the immersion. A dialogue-heavy scene in a movie that suddenly shifts to an action sequence will trigger the AI to recalibrate, and that recalibration can manifest as an audible shift in sound character. Many users who do long-term testing of this soundbar actually report that turning AI Sound Pro completely off and running in a fixed manual mode produces a more consistently enjoyable sound. That's a significant problem for a feature that's prominently advertised on the box. Soundbar 5, Yamaha SR-B20A. The Yamaha SR-B20 deserves special attention because Yamaha's name in professional and consumer audio is genuinely extraordinary. This is a company that has been manufacturing musical instruments for over a century. They make concert hall speaker systems, professional studio monitors, audiophile-grade AV receivers, and some of the most respected home theater equipment ever built. The Yamaha name on an audio product carries real meaning, or at least it's supposed to. The SR-B20A is priced around $180 to $200, making it a direct competitor to the other mid-budget options on this list. It's a 2.0 system, no subwoofer included, with a slim, understated design. It has HDMI-A/RC, optical input, and Bluetooth. Yamaha has included bass reflex ports and their proprietary bass extension DSP processing to compensate for the absence of a dedicated subwoofer. For a brand of Yamaha's caliber, expectations are high going in. And to be fair, the bass extension technology genuinely delivers on its specific promise. For a soundbar with no separate woofer, the SR-B20A produces more convincing and controlled bass than almost anything else in its class. It doesn't sound hollow or thin the way many sub-free soundbars do. There's actual weight to the low end, and it's tighter and more accurate than the bloated bass many budget subwoofers produce. If you genuinely cannot accommodate a separate subwoofer in your space and clean, integrated bass is your priority, the SR-B20A is genuinely commendable. How manufacturers mislead you with specs. Before we talk about what to buy instead, it's worth spending a moment on the specific ways soundbar marketing misleads buyers, because understanding these tricks makes you a smarter shopper for life. Wattage figures are almost universally meaningless in consumer soundbars because there is no industry standard for how these numbers are measured. Some brands measure peak power, some measure music power, some measure per driver power and add them all together. Some use different impedance values. A soundbar rated at 400 watts from one brand can be significantly quieter than a soundbar rated at 150 watts from another brand. Ignore wattage entirely and look for actual sensitivity measurements and frequency response data from independent reviewers. Dolby Atmos on the box is another common source of confusion. True Dolby Atmos requires dedicated upward-firing drivers to bounce sound off your ceiling and create genuine height effects. Any soundbar under $200 that claims Atmos is almost certainly using a virtualized or simulated processing algorithm that creates an approximation of the effect through psychoacoustic tricks. This isn't fraud. Virtual Atmos can genuinely improve spatial impression, but it's not real Atmos, and knowing the difference helps you evaluate what you're actually buying. Channel configurations, 2.0, 2.1, 3.1, 5.1, are meaningful in terms of what hardware is present, but not necessarily predictive of overall quality. A well-engineered 2.0 soundbar will almost always outperform a poorly executed 3.1 system. The number of channels tells you about the hardware topology, not the quality of the engineering applied to those channels. What you should actually buy instead. After all of this, the obvious and fair question is, what should you buy? The good news is that there are genuinely excellent options available in 2026 at budget and mid-range prices from brands that have prioritized audio engineering over marketing spectacle. The Polk Audio Signa SM4 is consistently one of the most recommended budget soundbars by independent audio reviewers who actually measure products. The driver quality is impressive for the price. The mid-range response is coherent and natural, and the included wireless subwoofer is well-tuned and fast, rather than boomy. Polk Audio is an American company with a long heritage in speaker design, and that heritage shows in how this product performs. The Klipsch Cinema 400 is another strong recommendation, particularly for anyone who listens to music seriously. Klipsch's horn-loaded tweeter technology, a design principle that goes back to the company's founding in the 1940s, produces a clarity and efficiency that competing products at the same price simply cannot match. The dynamics are real. The soundstage is wider than you'd expect, and the system has an energy and aliveness to it that proprietary DSP processing from TV brands cannot replicate. For anyone willing to stretch slightly toward the mid-range, the Denon DHT-S517 is a product that punches genuinely above its price class. It has properly implemented upward-firing drivers for real Atmos height effects, not just virtual simulation. The built-in DTS Virtual X processing is among the best in class for spatial impression, and the overall tonal balance is smooth, natural, and non-fatiguing. The kind of sound you can listen to for hours without feeling worn down. What all three of these alternatives share is that they come from companies whose primary business is making speakers and audio equipment, not TVs, not kitchen appliances, not smart home devices. When a company's core competency and brand identity is audio, they bring a different level of engineering commitment to their products, even at budget price points. The bigger picture. Why this keeps happening. There is a broader and somewhat uncomfortable truth at the center of all of this. The consumer electronics industry has become extraordinarily skilled at selling the perception of quality rather than quality itself. This is not a new observation, but it has become more acute as manufacturing has become cheaper, online retail has become dominant, and consumers have become less likely to handle and listen to products before purchasing. Let's bring this home. The 5 soundbars we covered today. The Samsung HW-B55, the Bose Solo Series 2, the Vizio 5.2 1X-J8, the LG S6 OQ, and the Yamaha SRR-B20A are not defective products. None of them are going to damage your hearing or catch fire. Some of them have real, specific strengths that might make them the right purchase for a very specific type of buyer in a very specific situation. But all 5 of them share a common problem. They fail to deliver on the promise implied by their brand name, their price point, or their marketing, and in a market where better alternatives exist at the same or lower prices, that gap is impossible to overlook. The Samsung charges a brand premium without delivering brand quality audio. The Bose charges a legacy premium for technology that hasn't kept up with the market. The Vizio sacrifices mid-range coherence for the sake of impressive bass and an accessible price. The LG dresses up average audio with confusing AI features that create more problems than they solve. And the Yamaha trades on a professional audio reputation that its budget soundbar products don't live up to. Your homework, before you spend a single dollar on a soundbar, is simple. Look up at least 2 independent reviews from reviewers who measure products rather than just unbox them. Check for frequency response graphs. Compare the options side by side, and give serious consideration to the alternatives. Polk Audio, Klipsch, Denon. From brands that put speaker engineering first. Your living room deserves sound as good as the picture you're already watching. And in 2026, that standard is absolutely achievable without breaking the bank. As long as you know what to avoid. If this video just saved you from a bad purchase, hit that like button right now. It genuinely helps this content reach more people who need this information before they make a mistake. Subscribe to the channel if you want consistent, honest, research-backed audio recommendations with no brand partnerships and no fluff. And most importantly, Drop a comment below and tell me, what soundbar are you running right now? Are you happy with it? And what would make you upgrade? Let's have a real conversation. I'll see you in the next one.